Tim suddenly found himself lost in a tangled series of monitor control screens as he tried to get back to the main screen. Most systems had a single button or a single command to return to the previous screen or to the main menu, but this system did not. Or at least he didn't know it. Also, he was certain that help commands had been built into the system, but he couldn't find them either, and Lex was jumping up and down and shouting in his ear, making him nervous. Finally, he got to the main screen back. He wasn't sure what he had done, but it was back. He paused, looking for a command. "Do something, Timmy! Will you shut up? I'm trying to get help!" He pushed template main. The screen filled with complicated diagram, with interconnecting boxes and arrows. Not good. Not good. "What's that?" Lex said. "Why aren't you turning the power, Timmy?" Timmy! "How's it coming, Tim?" Tim shook his head in frustration. It took him a moment to realize that he had just gotten valuable information. He now knew the grid's coordination for the lodge. "It's not working! I know!" Tim tried to stay calm, to think it through. For some reason, he was getting a consistent error messages whenever he tried to turn on the grid. It was saying that the power was incompatible with the command he was giving. But what did that mean? Why was the power incomparable? "Timmy," Lex said, tugging his arm. "Not now, Lex." "Yes, now," she said, and she pulled him away from the screen in the console. In the skylight above Malcolm's bed, the raptors had almost bitten through the second metal bar. They could now poke their heads entirely through the shattered glass, and lung and snarl at the people below. And after a moment, they would pull back and resume chewing on the metal. It won't be long now. 3-4 minutes. "Tim, are you there? Tim!" Tim slid out the door and saw the Velociraptor, down at the far end of the corridor, standing by the balcony. He stared in amazement. How did it gotten out of the freezer? Then as he watched, a second raptor suddenly appeared in the balcony, and he understood. The raptor hadn't come from the freezer at all. It had come from the outside. It had jumped from the ground below. Tim couldn't believe it. The big animal had jumped 10 feet straight up. More than 10 feet. Their legs must be incredibly powerful. "I thought you said they couldn't." "Shh!" Tim was trying to think, but he watched with a kind of fascinated dread as a third raptor leapt to the balcony. The animals milled aimlessly in the corridor for a moment, and then they began to move forward in a single file, coming towards him and Lex. Quickly, Tim pushed against the door at his back to re-enter the control room, but the door was stuck. He pushed harder. "We're locked out! Look!" She pointed to the slot from the security card alongside the door. A bright red doll glowed. Somehow the security doors had been activated. "You idiot! You locked us out!" Tim looked down the corridor. He saw several more doors, but each had red lights glowing alongside. That meant all the doors were locked. There was no way they could go. Then he saw the slumped shape on the floor at the far end of the corridor. It was a dead guard. A white security card was slid to his belt. "Come on!" They ran for the guard. Tim got the card and turned back. But of course the raptors had seen them. They snarled and blocked the way back to the control room. They began to spread apart, fanning out in the hallways to surround Tim and Lex. Their heads began to duck rhythmically. They were going to attack. Tim did the only thing he could do. Using the card, he opened the nearest door off the hallway and pushed Lex through. As the door began to close slowly behind them, the raptors hissed and charged.